All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a modern mystery. How do companies seem to know exactly what you want, sometimes even before you do? We're going to pull back the curtain and break down their system piece by piece. So let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? You're just thinking about a product, and then bam, an ad for it suddenly pops up. Or you have a problem, and a company emails you the perfect solution out of the blue. Well, spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's a very, very carefully designed system. I mean, think about it. Top brands like Marriott, Costco, and Cinépolis, they just seem to have this special connection with us. And there's a reason for that. A Forbes analysis pointed out that they're masters at creating experiences built on empathy and personalization. They make you feel seen, you know? But here's the real question. How in the world do they get the info to make that happen? Well, it all starts with this idea of seeing the customer not just as, a number, but as a puzzle that they are trying to solve. Think about it. Every single time you buy something, browse a website, or even just like a post on social media, you're basically handing over a little piece of your personal puzzle. But, a box just full of random jigsaw pieces, that's not very useful, is it? Companies need a way to actually put them all together. So to organize all those scattered puzzle pieces, companies pull out their first major tool, a kind of relationship playbook. And you probably know it by its acronym, CRM. So what is it really? At its heart, Customer Relationship Management, or CRM, is all about putting you, the customer, right at the center of everything. It's a system for managing every, and I mean every, single interaction a company has with you. And the goal? It's all to improve that relationship and, of course, their own bottom line. This right here, this is a great way to visualize it. Think of the CRM as the company's shared brain, or its memory. The sales team knows what you've bought, marketing knows which ads you've clicked on, and customer service knows about that issue you had last month. This means everyone is working from the same script because they all see the same, complete picture of you. No more repeating your story to 3 different departments. It's all right there. And this is a really crucial point. A CRM isn't just some dusty database for collecting info. No, it has very clear goals. Things like expanding and deepening relationships, finding new sales opportunities, and maybe most importantly, keeping their best clients happy by delivering way better customer service. Okay, but here's the thing. A playbook is only as good as the information you put in it, right? So where do all those clues actually come from? And that brings us to the next key tool, market research. So market research basically breaks down into 2 main flavors. On one hand, you've got qualitative research. I love this analogy. Think of it like a detective's interview. It's all about digging deep, asking why, to really understand what makes people tick, their feelings, their motivations. And on the other hand, you've got quantitative research. This is more like a census. It's about getting the big, hard numbers to see how many people are doing something. It gives them the big picture. And that why, that is absolutely critical. As one of our sources put it so well, this kind of research gets to the heart of our motivations and emotions. See, it's not just about what you buy. It's about the very human story behind all that data. Okay. So let me give you a great example of that detective work in action. When the company wanted to develop a new Kit Kat, they didn't just sit in a boardroom and guess what people might like. No way. Instead, they held these focus groups with actual consumers. And get this, those conversations generated over 500 ideas, which they then whittled down to 138 real prototypes to test. Now that is innovation driven by actually listening. All right, so that's the why. Now, on the other side of the coin, you have quantitative research. This is where you stop focusing on the individual and you zoom way out. You're not interviewing one person anymore. You're surveying thousands to get a really solid, statistically sound snapshot of the entire market. So yeah, instead of a small focus group, think way bigger. For instance, a research association in Mexico surveyed thousands of people all about their coffee habits. And this isn't about one person's deep, personal why. This is about getting those large-scale numbers that big companies need to make their big decisions. And you want to hear one of the key findings from that survey? A whopping 8 out of 10 adults in Mexico drink coffee. Just think about that for a second. With one single number, A company instantly understands the massive scale of its potential market. That's the raw power of quantitative data. Okay, let's take a breath. So we've got the playbook, which is the CRM, and we've got the clues, which come from market research. Now it's time to connect the dots and see how all this raw data actually turns into that personalized experience that, lands on your doorstep. So the whole process really works like a pipeline, and it's pretty straightforward when you break it down. First, you gather the clues, using both types of research. Second, you analyze all that data to find patterns. Third, you feed those insights into the CRM playbook to keep it updated. And finally, you use that playbook to create a personalized action, like a targeted offer or a faster service solution. And this bank flow chart, it's a perfect example of that pipeline in action. So imagine you call your bank. The system instantly pulls up your history. It asks, are you a high-value client? Have you been with us for years? And based on that data, it might route you to a specialized agent to get you help faster, or maybe even offer you a product it thinks you might actually need, like a car loan. It turns a simple, boring phone call into a really personalized experience. So what does that analysis step actually look like? Well, take a look at this. It's from a survey for Tommy Hilfiger, and it's charting customer attitudes. You can see right away that the biggest group is neutral, and right behind that is a pretty big favorable group. Now, for the company, this is super valuable. It tells them their reputation isn't negative, which is great, but there's this huge opportunity to turn all those neutral customers into really enthusiastic fans. Okay, so after all this data collection, all this analysis, all these systems, what does it all really mean for you? Why should you even care how this whole system works? Well, the payoff, at least in theory, is a world that's more tailored to you. Products get designed with real feedback, like that KitKat example. Customer service gets faster because they already know who you are and what you need. The offers and ads you see are actually more relevant. The ultimate goal here is to create a smoother, less frustrating, more personal experience with all the brands you interact with every single day. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. We've pulled back the curtain on this whole system of CRM and market research. You now know how companies are trying to solve the customer puzzle. So the big question I want to leave you with is this. Is the end result a genuinely better customer experience for you? Or is it just a more sophisticated, more perfectly targeted sales pitch? The truth? It probably lies somewhere in the middle. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.